and welcome to Safety in Retirement. I'm your host, Paul 𝗬𝗂𝗧, with my guest today, Len strickler. He's the CEO of Ellis Financial Group. Welcome back to the program.
Yeah, good to be here, Paul. Thank you.
So good to see you, Len. I mean, you're one of my favorite storytellers. So I understand you got good stories for me today. So I love that. But before we get started and getting into the business of retirement, let's talk a little bit about you.
Okay.
If you don't mind. I mean, tell me a little bit about yourself. I mean, where you're from originally, and how did you choose financial planning? What motivated you to do that?
Okay, great. Yeah, I'd be glad to. Actually, I'm from Philly,
okay,
the Philadelphia area, and I was actually raised in the projects, Philly.
Really?
Oldest of 8.
Okay.
Raised by really my grandmother and my mother, and it was kind of a tough place. The projects were a pretty tough place to grow up.
Yeah.
And I think I'd share a little bit earlier about my background in getting involved in the martial arts. Which I did at a fairly early age, and thank God I did, because I'm still alive.
Right.
So I got involved in the art, and the art really taught me a lot, Paul. A lot that I took into business, took into life, about discipline, focus, balance, treating others, right. So I had a great instructor, and it was taught to me right. So, that kind of got me off, and then from there into the Army, went into the Army, and
oh, wow.
Actually jumped out airplanes, so Airborne Ranger.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, so I've done all this crazy stuff to my body.
You probably had some adventures there.
Oh, yeah. But anyway, after the Army, went to college, University of Alabama. I actually got shipped down to Alabama. And but after that, I got off into the high-tech world, believe it or not.
Really?
And so I got into high tech, went to work for Burroughs Corporation, worked my way up the ranks, and ended up becoming a vice president of sales and marketing at HP. And then I did a turnaround company, a software company in Silicon Valley. But at that time, I was learning a lot from CFOs, learning a lot about business, right? And I did international work. I built international sales teams. So the whole thing of the finance side of this thing really intrigued me. And so getting off into that from a Fortune 50 perspective, I then left the high-tech world and I got into real estate. I opened my own real estate company, investment company, and I also had a mortgage company. And then I did a turnaround company. Like I said, I did fairly well. Okay, a software company in Silicon Valley. And when I opened the real estate investment and mortgage company, I got into real estate. Well, I got into it in a big way in 08. And you know what happened in 08.
I do, because we have that in common.
A lot of folks did.
Yeah.
And it was ugly. And it was very difficult on my wife, very difficult on my boys, because we had to make adjustments.
Yeah.
Now you got to start downsizing everything.
Yeah.
And so at that point in time, I said, I'm going to go ahead and transition into this financial world more specifically, and I don't want anybody to ever go through what I went through.
Yes.
So I want to make sure that whatever I'm going to do to help people, they're never going to be able to look at Len and say, you lost my money. I'm going to make sure that they have a guaranteed lifetime income, or that they have money that they know that they can put in a safe place, okay? Particularly in pre-retirement and retirement.
Yes.
And so that's what I set off to do, and in fact did that. And then I refocused it around that time frame in around 08, and things were going fairly well. And then, it's kind of like in the martial arts, right? You get hit with a right hook or a right jab, and then all of a sudden the left hook comes. Well, the left hook comes out of nowhere. And look, you know as well as I do, life brings you lots of curveballs. Okay?
Oh,
it comes at you fast and hard.
Yeah.
Some of them you can't control. And my high school sweetheart of 45 years came down with frontal temporal dementia. It's a very fast disease in the frontal lobes.
Yeah.
She was gone in 6 years. 55, she got it, going at 62. Now, I tell you that story, not to say, oh, whoa, Len, because there's a lot of other folks that have a lot worse than I do there. I say it from a financial perspective. There were two things that really got me involved, all right, that I'm passionate about. One is 08, never lose your money.
Right.
And number two was this thing called long-term care. One place I had my wife was $9,600 a month.
Whoa, $9,600 a month?
A month. And you figure she lasted, what, 6, 7 years.
Wow.
And so, and then the other drugs, the other things for care. I mean, it'll emotionally wreck you, but it will certainly financially wreck you. So what I do today is I help folks plan and make sure that they have a plan, that if these curveballs come at them in life, that they can weather the storm. Okay. So that's part of kind of a lot to say about my story and how I ended up in the financial world.
No, I absolutely love it, because I think it's important for people to understand a little bit about the people they deal with, you know, because there's an old adage that I wholeheartedly believe in, that people don't care how much you know till they know how much you care.
That's exactly right.
I mean, that's the beginning of any good relationship, right? And understanding your background and where you come from, what you've been through, and how you're passionate about protecting people from those same things.
Yes.
And I think that's admirable for sure.
Yeah.
And I wanted folks to get to know a little bit about you. That's what this is about, right?
Right.
Let folks get to know you. Listen, let's dive into some subject matter, should we?
Sure.
Okay. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about, you know, this is an interesting concept because you talk about guaranteed income a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I know that's something you're passionate about.
Right.
You talk a lot about safety, Len. People like the word safety and retirement. Those should go hand in hand, right?
Absolutely.
Tell me a little bit about guaranteed fixed annuities.
Yeah, that's a really good question.
Yeah.
I'm getting a lot of that now, as a matter of fact. A lot of folks have called in and they've talked to me about the CDs. Okay, so I had a guy come in a week ago, 2 weeks ago, and he had 9 $100,000 CDs. Okay, and they were all coming due, and so he comes to me and says, "Len, what do I do? Where do I want safety? Now, this is safety. Okay, he doesn't want any risk.
Right.
And so I said, well, you know, I showed him some other designs and some other things. He said, no, Len, I want something like a CD. Well, most people don't know that there is an annuity, okay, it's called a guaranteed fixed annuity.
Okay.
And so what it is it pays more than the CDs. A CD today is probably, I don't know, 1.5 to 1.8%,
if
something
you're lucky.
like that, if you're lucky. We have, you know, a product that'll pay 3.2%. Well, hey, it's certainly better than the CDs in the bank.
Close to double, it sounds like.
Yeah, and it's certainly better than putting your money in the bank, right? And it's safe. It's deferred interest. Okay, so the interest is deferred, and you don't get any 1099 from the government until maturity. So that is something a lot of folks don't know about, Paul. They just, you know, they think of annuities and they always think annuities, oh my God, annuities are terrible, they're bad. They you know, get all this off the internet. And yet annuities, you know, there are some bad annuities.
Sure.
But annuities aren't bad.
Right.
Matter of fact, if you look at guaranteed lifetime income, if you look at your Social Security is guaranteed lifetime income. Matter of fact, I have people say, I don't like annuities, I hate them, I'm talking on the phone. I'd say, well, let me ask you a question. Do you get Social Security? Yeah, I do. Great. Why don't you call Social Security up and tell them to take this check back? Because you don't do annuities in this home.
Yeah.
Right?
I bet you their reaction was interesting, right?
They shut right up. Really?
Like, Len, I'm not going to do that.
No, it's a guaranteed lifetime
income
annuity. That's what it is. That's what a pension is. Matter of fact, a guaranteed lifetime income annuity, the way we've designed them for folks, it is, again, one design of many, is you really have your own personal pension plan.
Yeah.
It's your own personal pension plan.
What a great concept.
Yeah. So, but back to what we were talking about, these guaranteed fixed annuities, Paul, they can be right for the right folks.
Yeah.
Now, this gentleman loved it. He liked it.
Sure.
And so we were able to start to move some of these for him and get him back in a guaranteed position, making more than he was going to make at the bank. So it worked for him.
Absolutely, and that's what it's about, right?
Yes,
to see if it's a vehicle that is a key component to your retirement individual.
Correct.
We got to take a break here in a second, Len, but I understand today you have an offer for the viewers?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I'd love for you folks to come in and see us. You know, if you've got $250,000 or so, if you've got an IRA, you've got a 401k, maybe you've got you know, some other monies that's not qualified money, it's in the bank or whatever. I just worked with a guy who's a big real estate you know, broker kind of guy, and he's sold some big properties. Come in and see us. We'll help you put together a plan. We'll make sure that you are safe, number one. I want you to understand, the number one thing my partner Art and I are about is safety. Safety first. You cannot lose money when you're at pre-retirement or retirement. It'll kill you. You'll never be able to make it back up, folks. So if you'll come in and see me, I'll be able to share some of that with you, how we get you safe first. And then we will put together a plan that'll show you your income analysis. Will your money be there for you for your lifetime? Okay, that's important. Longevity risk. We've got to be able to handle it. I'll also give to you a complimentary one of my books. I actually did work with 𝗵𝗂𝗍𝐸. He's got a PBS special called, you remember the song, right? Don't worry, be happy.
Sing it, Len.
Come on, man, you want to come with me?
That's great.
You remember it? Okay, don't worry, right? He's saying retire happy.
I love it. I love it.
So I've collaborated with this one, and I'll give that to you complimentary. And another one that I've worked with Tom on is called Paychecks and Playchecks.
Love it.
Really good stuff. Come on in and see us. 844-299-0355.
I love that, Len. You're a good guy. So fun. Listen, folks, but this is what it's about, right? Safety. You know, people ask about peace of mind. Peace of mind doesn't start without safety. Got to have that. This is your retirement. Who wants to spend retirement worried? That ain't no fun. Take advantage of the complimentary consultation. Get to meet with Len and his team. Let them get to know you, what your goals are. Pick up the phone. Reserve your spot today. 844-299-0355. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back after these messages.
How confident are you in your current financial plan? Do you know with certainty how the recent market volatility will affect your future hopes and dreams? How much are you paying in taxes? And how much are you losing to unnecessary high fees? You didn't work to save this money so that you could spend your time worried in retirement. Now is the time to take charge of your finances so you can feel confident about your future. Call in during the next 30 minutes of today's show only to set up an absolutely complimentary, no obligation, full-blown financial review that will result in your own customized written plan. This is a $999 value that we're giving away complimentary to the first 10 people who respond. We'll start with a full-blown analysis of what you already have by running a report to untangle how much you are currently paying in fees, how you're allocated for risk, and what it's costing to work with your current advisor. Next, we'll identify your goals. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Where do you want to go, and who do you hope to go there with? Is your current financial plan set up to get you there without mishap? Let's design a roadmap to create a financial plan you can follow with confidence. Get the piece that so many people are missing from their retirement. Find out how having a written plan can make a difference to your retirement dreams. Call now to schedule your complimentary, no obligation, full-blown financial review today.
Welcome back, everybody, to Safety in Retirement. I'm your host, Paul Gebhardt. My good friend here, Len Strickler. Len, I got to tell you, I love this song, man. I mean, I'm going to be surprised if folks don't call you up and sing the song back to you.
Start singing the song.
That's just fun. I love it. I love it, man. Good personality with that. I wanted to, you touched on something about guaranteed income, and I want to come back to that just for a brief second. But is this something, because you said Social Security is a form of an annuity, right? So why do you think people have these fears around annuities? What is it specifically you think that gets people afraid of them?
Yeah, basically people have gotten bad information about annuities. Annuities, back in the day, a number of years back, in the last 3 to 4 years, 5 years, these annuities have come a long way.
Right.
These big companies now know that 10,000 baby boomers, 10,000 a day are retiring a day. So it's a really big market. But the reason they've gotten such a bad rap is back in the day, folks would advisors would put them in a variable annuity. Okay? And when you're in a variable annuity, you're right back in the market. It's just sub-accounts that are underneath this umbrella called an annuity.
Right.
And you're right back in the market again.
I got
And so folks lost money back in the 90s and up in this, they lost money because they were back in the market.
Gotcha.
And so that's the biggest problem
That's
with
what
them.
a lot of it.
And a lot of it too is that folks just don't understand the new design of these annuities. Back in the day, you may get 4, 5, 6% maybe on annuities, and they had caps, and it was just a different animal. Today, there are some really, really good annuities. And so folks would just open their mind a little bit. We can we could be able to show them some things.
And it could be an option for them. That's what we're talking about.
Absolutely. And we're not saying, Paul, put all your money,
Yeah.
right? We're saying, look, at least get a portion of your money out of the Wall Street casino, I call it.
Right. Keep it safe.
Keep it safe because it's rolling the dice.
Yeah, you're right.
Eventually, what goes up will come down.
And, that's a great point, too, there, Len, is really time, the element of time. That took them to accumulate all that. You got to be safe with it.
Absolutely.
You can't afford to lose it, right?
Can't afford to lose it.
And that's where annuities can be a wonderful, wonderful option.
Part of that portfolio, absolutely.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it. Let me ask you this question. You have people out there, maybe they have an advisor, maybe they worked with for years, maybe it's a friend, maybe they inherited them. Maybe they haven't talked to them in years. What do you say to the person out there? How important is it for them to consider maybe a second opinion?
That's a really good question because, think about it where we are today, right? They may have did a plan a year ago, 2 years ago. What's happened? We've had a pandemic.
Yeah, lots changed.
Right? Lots of changes, right? We've got all kind of turmoil in the streets. I mean, we've got some real issues. We've had a 10-year run, right? And we know that if you look back to 1929, every 7 years there's been a market correction, and it's gone down 39%.
Really?
So there's some things that possibly could happen, and you do not want to be on that side if you're in retirement, right? And, I had an old friend tell me a long time ago, he said, Len, change isn't change till it's change, right? Are you open-minded enough to look at maybe some change? It kind of reminds me of a story about my my son.
Okay.
When I tell a lot of stories about my kids, because I love my boys.
Sure.
And he was a good baseball player. He could hit a fastball.
Yeah.
I mean, knock it a mile. When he was in ninth grade, he could literally knock the ball over a major league field.
Wow.
Left side.
Strong
or
kid.
right, but he could hit. But they were going to bring him up to varsity from ninth grade.
Yeah.
Now think about it. You're a ninth grader. You're what, 14? I don't know what he is now. These guys are seniors.
Sure.
On the mound chewing tobacco.
Right.
And they big.
Men.
Men.
Right. Yeah.
And here's this little so he has a coach. I get him a pro coach, right?
Yeah.
Brad Wellman, played for the Kansas City Royals. And so I get him a coach, and I could tell Brad was struggling with him because Brad was trying to change his stance and his swing, right? Because Matt couldn't hit a curveball.
Gotcha.
But he could rip a fastball.
Right.
So I went up to Coach, and I said, Coach, I can see he's struggling. He said, Len, don't worry. He said, listen, Matt's been very successful doing what he's done. He's been real happy with that. Let me work with him. I got him. I said, okay, Coach, because I'd have got up in him and said, you guys to do what the coach said.
Well, as a dad sometimes can do.
Dad can do.
Right, yeah. Yep.
But anyway, he said, now, Matt, listen to me. You're going up to the next level, and they're going to start throwing junk at you, man. He was cocky. He said, Coach, I can hit it. Don't worry about me. He said, all right, Matt, here's what I'm going to do. Yep. I'm going to throw you some fastballs. I want you to rip them. Okay, Coach. And then I'm going to throw you a curveball, but I'm going to tell you when I'm going to throw it. Okay, so he rips a couple fastballs. He throws a curve. He tells him, Matt, I'm throwing a curveball. Here it comes. His head almost fell over.
Oh, no.
And, Matt, I can hit that.
He's determined to throw it again. Yeah, yeah.
He goes, all right, Matt, here comes a fastball. He worked him up. Right, worked him up. And finally, he was able to bring Matt. He had to change his whole swing, okay? Patient. I can still hear Brett. Hold it, hold it, hold it. Now, because you got to wait. And so, but my point to that story is this. Are you willing to make the changes that you need to make, folks? Okay? Are you willing to get that second opinion? Because things have changed.
Yes.
Things have changed in the last year and a half.
Yeah.
Come in and see me. I'll help you.
That's good stuff.
I'll help you hit
Hit a curveball. I like that. Well, listen, do me a favor, if you would, Len, because the phone lines are going crazy, and I know we've only allotted for a few spots, but would you remind the viewer today what you guys are offering them?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, folks, come on and see me, and again, I'll help you hit that curveball. I'll help you with some change because it may be that you need to take a look at your portfolio. We'd be more than happy to take a look at it. We'll show you your income. We'll show you and analyze your income for you. We'll look at taxes. We'll also look at inflation. Inflation's what's happening now. We're printing more and more money. So inflation's cranking back up again. So come in and let us help you, and we'll give you a nice plan that you can take a look at, and we'll get some of these curves that come at you at life. Come on in and see me. I'll also give you a complimentary book. One that I've worked with Tom Higna is called Paychecks and Playchecks. And then the other one, when you come in, we can sing the song together if you'd like. Don't worry, be happy. Don't worry, retire happy.
Yeah.
And we'd love for you to come in. I'll give you one of these books as a compliment. Come on in and see me at 844-299-0355.
I love it. Love it, love it. Again, that is complimentary, that consultation.
Correct.
Len and his team has set aside spots specifically for you, and these are high-valued spots. I mean, I've seen people charge upwards of $1,500 for these consultation fees because there's a lot of time and energy getting to know you and working on a strategy, building a plan around you. That's what's key. And if you know the one thing to be true, the only thing constant is change. The question is your retirement plan keeping up with that change? When was the last time you found out? Pick up the phone. Take control. 844-299-0355. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back after these messages.
As a good saver, you've been putting away money during your working years. Studies find that the biggest fear of retirees is running out of money. Market volatility isn't just the downward movement of stock prices, it's the size and frequency of change. The more dramatic the ups and downs, the higher the volatility. This can put savers who are newly retired or a few years away from being retired at greater risk. Today's generation of retirees is not receiving traditional pensions as our parents or grandparents did. Instead, we have retirement accounts such as 401ks or 403bs. These accounts typically expose your money to market risk. The last thing you want right before retirement is to lose a portion of the money you need for income. But how do you turn these accounts into a retirement income? Is it safe to keep all your retirement money sitting in the stock market? The last thing you want is to lose a portion of the money you need for income due to market loss. By working with a financial professional, you can learn how to turn a portion of your savings into an income stream for life and income for the life of your spouse if you're married. We all have moments in our lives when we wish we had taken action sooner. Don't let procrastination reign on your retirement parade. Act now before it's too late. Please call our office to set up your no-cost, no-obligation retirement income review today.
Welcome back, everybody, to Safety in Retirement. Again, I'm your host, Paul 𝗬𝗲𝗅, and my guest today is Len Strickler of LS Financial Group. Wonderful story on, are you willing to change, right?
Right, that's right.
Get the coaching you need to change what you've always done, and I think that's incredible, valuable information. Because let's face it, life is always changing. We got to be open to that change. That's right. So thank you for sharing that. But I want to ask you a question about the concept called order of liquidation, because you hear a lot about that, Len. And I guess it's different for everybody, maybe, that order of liquidation. But would you share for folks what we're talking about when we're talking about that concept?
Sure. That is one of the things that Tom talks about also in his book, right? He gives us the, what are the number one risks? What are the risks,
right?
Okay, in retirement? And there's a number of them. We talked about taxes, inflation, et cetera. One of them is this order of liquidation. And most folks don't even have a clue. But let's say that you have Social Security, you have a pension, you got maybe some real estate monies or whatever.
Yeah.
You got lots of different things here happening. What order are you going to take that money?
How do I know? How do I know, Len?
And most people would think, well, come on, I got this, I'll take some out of here, I'll just take some out of here, right? I mean, but it really does make a difference on
great point.
Where you take that money and when. The planning that we talked about a little earlier, one of the things that we put your monies through is we have a software we put your money through, put this whole plan through. And one of the things it does is it goes through and takes those things we just talked about, so your Social Security, your pension, whatever income you've got, and we put it through like thousands of Monte Carlo simulations in the computer.
Okay.
Right? And you know how fast a computer is. Oh. I mean, they move very fast, nanoseconds, okay? Art, my partner, who does all that work, by the way, but I think I shared that with you earlier, you know, Len does this and I like this. Art, he goes behind the computer. If I did that, I'd shoot myself. But we make a great team, right?
Yeah, exactly. Ham and egg,
He goes, Len, come on, I want to show you something. I said, what? He said, I'm just running Mr. Jones's, liquidation, order of liquidation through the computer. He said, it's taken 22 minutes for it to come out in this right order. Can you imagine? I mean, that blew me away.
That's
right? I'm not a
calculating.
tech guy, but that blew me away. I mean, 22 minutes to get that right. So that's the power of the software that we have that will run, your plan through these simulations. So it is important.
It's
very
absolutely
important.
very important. So basically, that's a process that can run out different forecasts and test it, right? To see how your plan is stacking up and what can happen.
And what can happen.
Is that what it does?
That's what it does. That's
Wow.
exactly what it does. And it takes a lot of factors into consideration. A
Yeah.
lot of factors.
Yeah.
That we wouldn't even, think of. We wouldn't even dream of.
Yeah.
But only a computer can do that. And
Right.
that kind of speed.
Yeah. It's interesting because we're talking about this order of liquidation. You talk about the sequencing that the software does. It brings a question to mind. So let's say somebody's curious out there and they want to meet with you, Len, and they call in and set up a time. What's the expectation? What should they bring the first time they show up?
That's a good question. First off, I'd like to say this. The first meeting that we get together, I just want to get to know you, okay?
Yeah.
People buy and do business with people they know, like, and trust.
Amen.
And the number one thing in there, Paul, as you know, is trust.
Absolutely.
Okay?
How can you have a relationship without trust?
If we don't have trust in each other, then it's not going to work.
You don't have anything.
So I'm not here to sell anybody anything.
Yeah.
Folks buy from Len, okay? I have something that I can consult with them and share with them, and they make the decision, right? So, but if you do come in with some of your statements. You could come in with your, your Social Security. Know what the numbers are. Know what your Social Security is, and you go to gov.us, gov.org, and you can get it ss.gov.org. It'll show you exactly what your Social Security is. Okay, show you your wife's. You can get that information. Bring in if you've got stocks, bonds, mutual funds. You don't have to bring in the statements or anything, but at least know what's in there. What's the account value?
Right.
Bring that kind of stuff in, and then we'll be able to take a look at again, not me, but my partner Art will take those things and he'll go through them and he'll do some analysis for you, and we'll be able to at least give you going away with some ideas. But our first meeting really is we really want to get to know you, and I want to know what your goals are. I want to know what your vision is for your retirement. This is your money. You've worked hard for it.
That's good stuff. And most importantly, they can leave the checkbook at home, right?
It's not going to cost them anything. We
Good
don't
stuff.
charge them.
Well, good stuff. Thank you again for this incredible information. But believe it or not, we come to the end of the show. And this is what it's about. It's about you and your future, what you want your tomorrow to look like. Find out today. Take action. Bring about the change in your life that you know you need. Pick up the phone. Call Len and his team, 844-299-0355. Thank you for being with us. Be well and enjoy your retirement.